Most of us who have grown up in the outdoors know the name Thermarest. Obviously, we use it when we're talking about roll mats in general. They are that synonymous with camping mats. Their latest beast, the NeoLoft, is absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. So I remember many moons ago being blown away by Thermarest blowing themselves up, self-inflating mats. Isn't that incredible? Well, not many of them do that anymore because that relied on the foam expanding, and actually they don't pack that small when they use the foam. And brands, particularly Thermarest, have found lots of really clever ways to make mats comfy, warm and packable without using that foam. So as you've guessed, Thermarest have been leading the way on mats for years now with things like Uberlight and the X-Therm in the sort of really lightweight compressible area, which people love with lightweight backpacking now. As warm as you can get, super light and packed really small. But they've also made some amazing car camping mats as well, which are super comfy but really bulky. The NeoLoft is somewhere beautifully in the middle. So like I mentioned, with those really lightweight mats, sometimes there's a bit of a problem with those in the fact that either they're not that comfy or maybe they're a little bit crinkly because they've used clever ways of making them warm with metallic fibers inside and things like that. However, the NeoLoft manages to cut all of that out and still compress really small. So when I say really small, obviously I'm not talking about ultralight backpacking here. This comes in at about 850 grams and this is the regular wide I've got here. Now, while that isn't obviously ultralight, it can be a lot lighter than what people used to have. If you go back to your inflatable ones that had the foam inside and compare it to this, the likelihood is this is actually smaller, even though it blows up and is a lot comfier and a lot thicker than your self-inflating pad from years ago. So how they've managed to achieve that is they've stolen their ContourCore Matrix design, which they use in their ultralight pads, and just made it bigger and softer. And that's what gives this a huge amount of loft. So as you've probably seen, this is really thick pad, 11.5 centimeters, something like that. And that means it's extremely comfy, but also compresses really small. That also allows quite a lot of warmth for a pad that hasn't got any synthetic fibers or lofting foam inside there. So it gets an R rating of 4.7, which if I'm honest, for most of us is good for most of the year round. They give it 3 seasons, because obviously the really cold temperatures, you might need something else. They've combined all that with this amazing stretch knit fabric, which feels a bit like a base layer, and actually that's super soft, really stretchy, and it sort of contours to your body so you get a really comfy sleep and you don't bounce around like some of the other pads can. What's also really nice about that is if bits of your skin do touch the mat, it feels really nice and comfy and a bit like a bed with a sheet on it. Because some other mats, when they're counting every gram, can be a bit shiny and sticky if you do come out your sleeping bag or you're just using a quilt. Another clever feature is that these baffles here sort of end that gives side rails. So basically the edges of the pad are actually a lot thicker than the middle, so you don't roll off and it keeps you nicely in the middle. And as you can see, it's like a 3D construction, so a top, bottom, and then side walls. This makes this give that real good thickness, really solid so you don't bounce around, and it basically feels like a bed. The valve system is brilliant. So like I say, they've not gone super light, so they give you 2 dedicated valves, an in and an out, and that makes it super simple. And you get this absolutely colossal inflation bag. So this huge big pad that takes big old me only took me 4 breaths, and it just captures it all in, squeezes it in and blows it up really easy. The bottom of the mat has a different fabric, which is obviously a bit shinier, more robust and less likely to absorb any moisture because obviously that's going down on the floor. So again, really well designed. So like I've mentioned in other videos, I'm not an ultralight backpacker, generally doing it because it's a bit of fun or I'm away on a climb or something like that. And I definitely prefer a bit more comfort than going ultra lightweight. And what's brilliant about this is, yeah, while it's not the lightest at 850 grams, something like that, it does pack down really small. It's only just a bit bigger than my Nalgene. It's certainly not that much bigger than other pads which are nowhere near as comfy as this. What I also think it does brilliantly is it blurs the line between car camping and just going camping, because why not take this in the car if you've not got much space for those big cheaper pads, but also then you can use it as your one you're going to take into the hills and have a really nice sleep. I personally think there's lots of other areas where you can like save weight to like have a lighter rucksack. Things like your tent or maybe your sleeping bag, things like that can get lighter and still have a nice night. If your mat or pad is not comfy, you can have a bad night. So this is one area where I wouldn't scrimp. Now before you go, wow, that's a brilliant review, I'm definitely getting one of those, just have a little look at your tent. Obviously this is the regular wide, which is what most people are going to go for. Before you and your partner both get them, do check they will fit inside your tent. So like I mentioned, this is the regular wide, and it comes in at 66 centimeters wide, and that is 185 centimeters long and a whopping 11.7 centimeters thick. Oof, that's comfy. Another little feature that I just noticed while putting this up and packing it away, I really like the fact that the stuff sack is actually probably a bit big for it. I can get it in there really, really easily, and actually it could probably go smaller, but isn't it a nightmare trying to stuff it in a bag that's been made as small as it can just so it looks better on the shelf? And if you want to save a few grams, you could actually leave that stuff sack behind and use the inflation bag as a stuff sack if you like, or even use the inflation bag as a dry bag because it's quite a big size and it's really well made. Thermarest still also offer their lifetime guarantee. As with all inflatable mats, there is the possibility of puncturing them, so you get a nice puncture repair kit with it as well. Now, like I've mentioned, I don't think people are going to take this for their ultra lightweight backpacking trips, but I think I'd consider taking it on a multi-day walk because if I have a better night's sleep, I have more energy the next day. So for the extra bit of weight, I actually think I'd feel better having a better night's sleep. And another use for this as well, I really think if you were going away for an extended time, like got a base camp and you're going to be there for a week or so, maybe doing climbs to different peaks in the area, again, what a better thing to have than this. And of course, if you have mates to come and stay at your house, here's your spare bed. So is this the comfiest mat pad, whatever you want to call them, I've ever used, including my car camping one? Yes, absolutely, it really is. It's so nice. Might even sleep on it at home.